broadcast center in Los Angeles. This is Kcal 9 News at 4.
Now at 4, world leaders have gathered in New York for the 77th United Nations General Assembly.
Yeah, there is a lot on their plate: war, climate change, and high inflation. But as Kcal 9's Elise Preston reports, there's also a lot of hope being expressed by the Secretary General.
World leaders gathered face-to-face in the halls of the United Nations, with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres delivering sobering opening remarks about the serious business at hand.
A cost of living crisis is raging, trust is crumbling, inequalities are exploding, and our planet is burning.
The Secretary General told leaders the world is locked in global dysfunction, spurred by the climate crisis, world poverty, and even social media. But he also pointed to hope, showing video of a UN chartered ship carrying grain from Ukraine to Africa amid the nation's crippling war with Russia.
Let's work as one, a coalition of the world, as United Nations.
Much of that hard work is set to be discussed on the sidelines of the assembly in private meetings between leaders. Some 150 heads of state and representatives are set to speak this week at the UN. But this year, President Biden's address was bumped from its traditional second-place slot. That's to accommodate his return from Queen Elizabeth's funeral. President Biden is set to speak Wednesday morning, likely stressing climate issues and Russian aggression in Ukraine.
The main thing that we are coming back and we are on the way to the end.
Ukraine's president will be the only world leader allowed to address the assembly remotely this year, despite Russia's objections.
Elise Preston, Kcal 9 News.
Sky-high demand created a tough time for travelers this summer. So what can we expect this fall and into the holidays? Travel experts predict more of the same. That's because airlines are still trying to staff up to meet the surge and pent-up demand caused by the pandemic. Overseas trips are especially popular, so you might want to start planning holiday trips as soon as you can.
When should you start your holiday planning? Last year. No, I mean, I'm only being half funny about this because people are booking things a year, 6 months in advance.
Well, don't expect prices to go down. Experts also expect those high travel prices to stick around because of inflation.
A project that's been in the works for decades is finally becoming a reality: the Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing in Agoura Hills. The groundbreaking actually took place back in April, but today construction crews began moving the ground along the Liberty Canyon trailhead. The crossing will allow wildlife to go from one part of the Santa Monica Mountains to the other without ever stepping foot on freeways and streets. Organizers say this will help preserve the area's biodiversity.
Our local big cats have some of the lowest genetic diversity ever recorded. Also, we've documented very close inbreeding, and we have recently witnessed the physical effects of that low genetic diversity in our local big cats. So this wildlife crossing could not have come at a better time.
Right now, the National Park Service is tracking 11 big cats across the region, including 6 in the Santa Monica Mountains. 6 collared mountain lions have died this year. 5 of those were from traffic-related accidents.
All right, remember that gas tax rebate the governor and lawmakers promised earlier this year? Well, it's coming as early as next month. And the state has now spelled out how much people will actually get.
Kcal 9's Rena Nakano has the breakdown on the so-called middle-class tax refund.
In late June, the governor announced the 2022-23 budget. This includes the $9.5 billion middle-class tax refund, better known as the gas tax rebate, where the state will make 18 million payments to Californians valued between $200 and $1,050.
It's a one-time payment for economic relief, especially from inflation for Californians.
Drivers in Long Beach say they can't wait to see the extra cash.
Just to pay my rent, gas, all that stuff.
I really need it, because I have 2 cars.
So who qualifies for this money? Well, first, you have to be a California resident who submitted their 2020 tax return by October 15th, 2021.
Next, this only applies to joint filers or families who made less than $500,000 that year, or single filers with children will get you $700. Single filers who made $75,000 or less with children will get $700.